This is part 4 of our Breaking Into MedTech series. In part 3, we talked about the two functional worlds of MedTech, the field-facing world and the internal world, and why the informational interview is the most powerful tool you have for figuring out which one actually fits you. Today, we get into the mechanics of how you actually find those conversations when you're starting from zero. There is a link to the full series in the description. I want to start this video with something I witnessed at a networking event not long ago. I was standing with a group of hiring managers when a candidate approached our group. They waited for a natural pause in the conversation. They introduced themselves warmly, and they made a self-aware joke about the fact that this was, after all, a networking event, and they were hoping for a moment with one of the hiring managers. We laughed and obliged. What happened next was a masterclass in 3 questions. Instead of pitching, they asked the hiring manager what they were most excited about in their career right now. The hiring manager paused, clearly bracing for the elevator pitch that never came, then answered openly and thoughtfully. Before any awkward silence could form, the candidate asked what fun plans they had coming up for the summer. Simple, human, and completely disarming. Then came the 3rd question. When would be a good time to follow up in person about a specific role at the company? The hiring manager pulled out their phone and set a date on the calendar right there and then. What happened was preparation meeting self-awareness. One question about their career, one about their life, and one ask, delivered only after the relationship had already been earned. That is what this video is about. Not networking as most people understand it. Networking as a skill, one that most candidates have never been taught and almost nobody in this industry will show you how to do. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to find the people worth talking to, how to approach them in a way that opens doors instead of closing them, and how to make every single interaction count on a journey that, as we have said from the beginning, is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's start with the hardest scenario, because if we can solve it for the hardest case, everything else gets easier. You are a student about to graduate or an early career candidate who has just finished their program. You don't have industry contacts. You don't have colleagues who can introduce you. You are starting from zero in an industry where relationships are everything. How do you find anybody willing to open even a small crack in the door? The answer is not LinkedIn. We will get to that. The answer is grassroots, old-fashioned, uncomfortable, and remarkably effective for the candidates who are willing to actually do it. Option 1. Go to a hospital. If you want a commercial role in MedTech, the people you need to meet are already walking through hospital doors every single morning. MedTech reps are not hard to spot. If they are in orthopedics or cardiac, they are likely carrying a large product bag with their company name on it. If not, they are wearing a jacket with the company logo. Show up early. Procedures start early, and so do the reps who support them. Wait in the lobby. When you see someone walk up to them, introduce yourself. Tell them you are looking to break into MedTech, and ask if they would be willing to give you 5 minutes of their time. The worst they can say is no. And in my experience, most won't. Option 2. Go to a specialist's office. If you are targeting cardiology, go find a cardiologist practice. Walk up to the receptionist. Introduce yourself. Tell them you are a candidate looking to get into MedTech, and you would genuinely appreciate it if they could give you the name of a couple of the reps who work with their physician. If you deliver that from a place of honesty and vulnerability, and you would be surprised how often a receptionist will go and ask the doctor on your behalf, you will walk away with names and contact information that you could never have found any other way. Option 3. Find the conferences. Every therapy area has them. Go online, find the dates, and if you can get there, go. You don't necessarily need a ticket onto the convention floor. The lobbies of conference centers are full of industry professionals during breaks and in the evenings. Networking events happen every night of every major conference, and most of them are accessible. Yes, it costs money to travel there. Yes, it means stepping into an uncomfortable environment full of people you don't know. Do it anyway. The candidates who are willing to show up where the industry gathers are the ones who get remembered. Now let's talk about something that should not need to be said, but absolutely does. How you show up matters, more than you think, more than you have been told, and more than some of you are currently giving it. I have had candidates show up to networking events straight from yoga, from the beach in board shorts and flip-flops, with a t-shirt and sweatpants looking like they rolled out of bed and decided to come along at the last minute. And I want to say this as directly as I can. That is unacceptable. Full stop. This is your career we're talking about, not a casual catch-up, not a social event, your career. And the way you show up to meet a hiring leader for the first time tells them everything they need to know about how seriously you take it. If you are a student at a networking event hosted by your school, have a change of clothes. If it means leaving practice early or skipping an activity, do it. Go home, take a shower, dress professionally, print your resume neatly on clean paper, not paper that has been crumpled at the bottom of your bag for 3 weeks. Show up looking like someone who actually wants the opportunity. And before you think this only applies to students, it doesn't. I have seen candidates with several years of experience show up to meetings in scrubs and say I was at the hospital. The hiring manager likely knows you were at the hospital, but the candidate who took 20 minutes to change into something professional before that meeting will always be remembered differently from the one who didn't bother. Here's the truth. There might be a hiring manager who doesn't care about any of this. But if that's how much you care about your career, don't be surprised by how much they care about you. So you have shown up. You're dressed professionally, you're in the room. A hiring manager is standing in front of you. Now what? Most candidates at this point make the same mistake. They launch into a 5-minute speech about their internship. They talk about themselves without stopping. They stare blankly at the hiring manager at the end, hoping someone will ask a question. And when nobody does, they say, "Thank you," and walk away. The hiring manager moves on and forgets them before they have reached the other side of the room. That is not an elevator pitch. That is a monologue delivered to someone who didn't ask for it. A strong elevator pitch in this industry looks nothing like that. It starts with a firm handshake and direct eye contact. It opens with genuine gratitude. "Thank you for being here. I found your presentation genuinely interesting." And then you mention something specific from it. Not generic appreciation. Something specific that shows you were actually listening. Then, and this is where most candidates miss the opportunity entirely, you demonstrate that you did the work before you walked into the room. You know something about the company, you know a product by name. You have read something recently about their therapy area. You reference it naturally, not to show off, but because it is genuinely interesting to you. That is the moment the hiring manager stops thinking about the next person in line and starts actually listening to you. Then you close it. You acknowledge there are other people waiting to meet them. You thank them again for their time. And you ask, simply and directly, whether they would be open to you reaching out to schedule a short conversation where you can speak in more detail. That whole interaction takes about 90 seconds. It leaves the hiring manager feeling respected, seen, and genuinely curious about you. And it ends with a clear next step that you control. That is gold. Everything else is noise. Let's talk about LinkedIn, because it comes up every time we discuss networking, and it deserves an honest assessment. LinkedIn is a tool. It is not a strategy. And for candidates starting from zero in MedTech, the yield on cold outreach through LinkedIn is, in my honest experience, significantly lower than most career content will tell you. The reality is that people in this industry are getting contacted constantly. Recruiters, vendors, candidates, connection requests from people they have never met. The signal-to-noise ratio is brutal. And a cold message from someone they don't know asking for 30 minutes of their time is very easy to ignore, no matter how well it is written. That does not mean don't do it. It means understand what it is. One tool in a larger toolkit, not the strategy itself. Where LinkedIn does work is in 2 specific scenarios. First, when someone you know can make a warm introduction. A second-degree connection who can send a message saying, "I know this person, they are serious, worth talking to." That changes everything. The response rate on a warm introduction versus a cold message is not even comparable. Second, when you have done enough visible work in the space that your profile itself tells a story worth responding to. If you have been engaging thoughtfully with content in your therapy area, sharing genuine observations, demonstrating real curiosity, a message from you lands differently than one from a blank profile with 3 connections. But for most early career candidates starting from zero, the hospital lobby, the doctor's office receptionist, the conference lobby, the school networking event, those will open more doors faster than any amount of LinkedIn activity. Good old-fashioned grassroots networking, firm handshakes, real conversations. Looking people in the eye, it is uncomfortable. It requires courage. and it works in a way that hiding behind a keyboard simply cannot replicate. Every conversation you have, every single one, should end with one goal: getting the next conversation. Not a job, not a referral, not a promise of anything, just the next conversation. Because that is how this works. You are not sprinting toward a finish line. You are building a network one relationship at a time. And the arc of that, done well, leads somewhere meaningful. When a conversation ends well, ask directly whether there is someone else they think it would be worth you speaking to. Someone in the specific therapy area you're targeting. Someone in the functional role you're exploring. Most people in this industry are genuinely willing to make that introduction if you have earned their respect. And you earn it by being exactly who you said you were when you first reached out. Follow-up is not optional. It is the difference between a conversation that turns into something and one that disappears. Send a message the same evening. Brief, warm, specific. Reference something from the conversation. Thank them for their time. Tell them you look forward to staying in touch. Then follow up again a few days later. And again a few weeks after that, if there is a reason to. The key word is pleasantly persistent. Not aggressive, not desperate. Persistent in the way that a professional who takes their career seriously stays on someone's radar without becoming a source of noise. Starting early is everything. If you're graduating in a month and expecting to have a job in medtech 4 weeks from now, the odds are not in your favor unless you have a very specific and very fortunate set of connections already in place. The candidates who break into this industry quickly are almost always the ones who started building these relationships 6 months or a year before they needed them. MedTech is a journey career. The networking that gets you in is the same discipline that builds the career once you're there. Start now. Be consistent. Be professional. Be the candidate that a hiring manager remembers, not because you gave the best speech, but because you made them feel like the most interesting person in the room.